Hi, and welcome to the Black Starters Podcast, featuring stories of Black business owners, leaders, and artists walking through their journey from the start through obstacles and onward to success. Powered by BlackStarters.com. And now, here's your host, Lauren Marie.
Hey, Starters. This is Lauren, and I am here today with the founder of natural skincare and beauty line Dirty Beauty, Samantha Dickey. And I tell you what, the knowledge and just the wisdom that she relays in this episode is unbelievable. I want to first of all apologize because the audio quality is not fantastic in this particular episode, but stick with it because again, the information is ridiculous. Had I known these things, even just like I think maybe a year or two ago, I think my trajectory would have changed, or just the method that I would have taken would have been completely different. So in this episode, we get into perspectives about work and about your job and how critical it is to have the right perspective. And I think you'll be really surprised at the perspective that she speaks on specifically. And we'll also get to hear her 9/11 story and the way that moment and that day really changed the way that she entered into the startup world. So hope you enjoy this episode. Let's jump right in.
So what was your very first job, and then how did you move into this industry, into skincare and beauty?
Yeah, sure. My very first job out of college, kind of, or my first job?
Both. How about that?
Okay, all right. I had a lot of jobs like in high school, but my very first job in like high school was I worked at an egg farm. That was my first job. But my first job out of college, I worked for the Pepsi-Cola company. I enrolled in their operations management trainee program, and in that program, I did warehousing, production. I also got into sales a little bit until the last kind of job that I had there was a quality control manager. So that was kind of where I got most of my experience for manufacturing from. I went on my own in the work world in around 2000, and I started this around 2003. So that's what made this my chosen career path. Is it lines up well with what is a good day at work for me. So yeah.
So as you were starting up, what kinds of obstacles did you run into?
I wouldn't say it's one thing in particular. I think it's just the learning process, the learning curve that it takes, the time it takes to get good at something. It takes you can start and do something, but to get good at something takes a long time. So I think that was the biggest thing. You can overcome, you're always going to need some money, but you can overcome that. That just, if you push through the day long enough, your needs are going to be met. If you can get through the day, you're going to have your needs met. So, but bigger than that is just learning and becoming good at something. That doesn't happen overnight. That takes a lot of time.
Yeah. And I think that's actually what I would guess is a common struggle for people.
Yes.
I think maybe the biggest problem is just giving up too quickly, right? To say, I'm just not good at this, as opposed to maybe I just need more practice, or maybe I need to just find a mentor who can guide me in the right direction with this.
If you really want to do something, you can do anything you want to do. It just, you can do rocket science, brain surgery, it doesn't matter. You can do anything that you want if you're willing to study. And so it's that study time, and a lot of times, you need the gig, but you got to get good at it first. Kind of depending on what field that you get into. If you get kind of like in a product development field and manufacturing consumer goods, then this is true for me anyway, in order to have the confidence to go to market, you have to have something that's actually good. For a while, you can market something really good and it not be that good. But it's not going to have longevity if it's not actually good. And it's not going to actually be good unless you really, really, really know what you're doing. Initially, I started going to in selling our products at farmers markets because it's cheap. It's actually a place where they let you sell. For me, that was important because my personality, I think, is that way. I remember, and this is taking me back. I guess since you're asking these questions, I would make some body butter, and I would go to the mall with a bag and walk around and like sell it to people just walking down the mall. I was just trying to get someone to buy some stuff. And so I would go to I was going over to Greenbrier Mall in Atlanta, and I'd go in the little barber shop. I'd go in the place where they wax your eyebrows and stuff, and I would just go in there and just say, "Hey, I have this stuff I'm selling. It's $10." And I remember this one young lady. She did my eyebrows. She was a real good eyebrow artist. And so I was feeling kind of low one day, but she bought some from me. And then she called me like a couple weeks later and was like, "I just love that sugar scrub. Can I get some more of that?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh." It was like, wow, like somebody likes my stuff and they even called me. So it's that kind of stuff. And then the farmer's market was another place because it was a place that you're allowed to sell. Like at the mall, you're not really supposed to be out there soliciting, but okay. But I was doing it. But the farmer's market actually was a place where people were going to buy stuff. So for our products, because it's plant-based and it's kind of farmish, and because my parents are farmers, I felt very comfortable around farmer-type people and people that like farmers. So it was a good environment for me. But when I first started going to farmers markets, I just sat there. I wouldn't look up at anybody. I really didn't want them to buy anything. I just kind of set something up. I had some random tacky tent table, just tacky. It was just so bad, But I went, and sometimes I would go and I would sell like one thing I'd sit out there for hours and I would sell one thing. I was happy to sell that one thing because I just was like, if someone thinks enough of you, of what you offer, that they're going to trade their hard-earned money and give it to you for something that you made or something that you're selling, that to me is huge. I don't care if it's just one sale. I felt good after one sale every time I went. And I went, and I still go to the farmer's market. That's where I garnered my first support, because farmer's market people are honest people. They want a certain thing. They'll talk to you. The farmer's market environment is a positive environment. People are happy at a farmer's market most of the time. The energy is good. The vendors are great. Sometimes I would just do a vendor sale, and it didn't matter to me. A sale was a sale. So like another vendor would come and say, "Oh, what you got?" And I said, "Oh, I got some such and such." And they would say, "Oh, how much is it?" And I would tell them, and they would say, "Okay, well, I'd like to have one of those." And I was like, "Oh, wow, that's great."
So another thing you touched on was how you grew in your ability to sell over time. So sometimes you would go and you wouldn't even really want people to buy, or wouldn't really maybe want to engage with people, but over time that changed. Can you talk about that transformation and what you learned about selling in that time?
Yeah, so I say I didn't want to sell. I thought I did, but my actions were not lining up with that, because I would just kind of sit there meekly, worried about what they were going to think about the product, and didn't want to get any like negative feedback or something. Scared, really. But I still went, I still set up. And even though I was reserved, I mean, a lot of times the customers helped me because they would kind of draw me out a little bit. And then I started to change my thought process and not be so sensitive. I eventually changed my thinking from saying, "Here, I want you to buy my product." And I began to understand that this is their product. This is not mine anymore. I'm making it for them. It's theirs. And when I kind of changed that paradigm, what it did was it made me develop for them. And it had me present the product in a way that was palatable for them. It's not for me. It's for them. And because of that, I stopped being scared of what they were going to say. And it totally changed the way I felt about sales after that. Because the other thing is, people say sometimes like, oh, I don't like to sell. I like to sell, right? I want to sell, okay? Because that's how you make your money. And everybody's job, work, whatever you want to call it, employment, path, career, call, purpose, somebody's selling something to somebody somewhere. I don't care what you work in the back room, somebody's still selling something. So sales is it. I know when I worked at Pepsi, it's a sales organization. Everything you do is about the sale. Everything. Even the manufacturing was about selling. So I like to sell now. But again, when I changed it, when I changed my thought process and understood that it's not me selling something of me, I'm making something, I'm providing something for others, and it's theirs at that point. After I finished it, and it's in a jar, and it's got a label and all that stuff, and it's presented, it ceases to be mine at that point. I'm done with it. It's for them. And it's my job to make sure that they know that it's available to them. Otherwise, it's not a benefit. So I'm holding back and reducing / eliminating the benefit that they could receive from the product that I've made if I don't present it to them in a way that's palatable, in a way that encourages them, and in a way that gives them confidence. I'm supposed to give them confidence to buy, not them give me confidence. I'm supposed to give them confidence and give them the information and educate them on why they need this, and if they do need this, let them know how to use it and all those things. I mean, that's my responsibility.
Can you talk a little bit about how you went about marketing your product, as far as the packaging, as far as the look? Because you go back to saying something that's palatable to them.
Yes.
How did you go about doing that market research, and what were some maybe little nuggets of value that I guess that were new to you as you went through the process?
When I first started, I didn't think packaging mattered. I thought I'm gonna make something so awesome, and it's gonna be plain and packaged so I can sell it really cheap, and that's gonna be fine. No, that's not fine. When we first started, we even had a different name. We were Generation Spa, because of the whole thing about my grandparents and all that. But that's indulgent to me. That's my personal reasons, and who else? Nobody else cares about that but me. So that's why we changed the name, and we picked a name that was going to be, edgy and like attractive and make people want to learn about it. That's why one of the reasons why we chose the name Dirty Beauty. So we wanted to make something, make it edgy. And the other thing is, it deserves to be packaged in a way that's amazing. So people, when they see something and the packaging is crisp and it's clean, then they're expecting the contents to reflect that.
And now, here's a quick word from our supporters.
Hi, this is Q from Q's Cakes. Please check me out at qcakes.com. You can also find me on Facebook /QS Cakes. We have amazing comfort food cakes that are going to be on sale. And yes, we ship all over the United States. Once again, visit me at qcakes.com.
Now, let's get back to the show.
If I could share a quick story with you, it was September 11th, 2001. And so I mainly, had males that I worked around. There were some females, but my colleagues were basically pretty much all males when I was working there, those other places. And that was the day that Twin Towers were attacked by terrorists. And so we were standing there with our mouths hanging open and like, oh my God, what's happening? And at the time, our children, we had 3 children. At the time, we just had 2, and they were at daycare. And so everybody that I work with, you know, they were the male. They had wives. So my husband has a wife, and I'm the wife. And so, you know, they were all saying how their wives left work and they went to pick up their kids. And so I called my husband and I'm like, well, I'm going to try to go and, you know, pick up our kids and go home. And my boss said I could not go. And I made a decision that would never happen to me again. No one was never going to tell me I cannot go pick up my kids. And so that was the last time anyone ever told me I couldn't go and pick up my kids.
I've heard a lot of stories of just like turning points, right?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever heard a story where it really involved children, you know, like.
Right. Like he actually said, I can't authorize you to go. I mean, that messed with me for a while. So I also asked, because I wanted to learn this program called Pro-E. It's Pro Engineer, and everything that's plastic has like a mold or some kind of form. So what Pro-E does, it's a program that makes molds, basically. And the software was like $30,000 a seat. So it's very expensive. But it was good. And so the guy, he was like, you know, Samantha, you should learn this. I'll teach you if you want to know. It's good to know. And I was like, okay. So I asked my boss, I was like, you know, I'd really like to learn how to do Pro-E. I'd come into my own time. And, you know, he said he would train me on how to do it. And so he said he'd think about it. And so when he came back with his answer, he just basically said, you know, that's a hard program. And then he said, you know, we just need to do what you know, basically what we ask you to do. We don't want you to do any more than that. So, like, you don't want me to learn anymore. Like, you're done with me learning. You just want to tell me what to do, and then that's sufficient. The thing with the kids, that totally did it. But the other one got me thinking. Like, you just basically don't want me to grow anymore. Like, you just want me to do what you want me to do. And I don't even mind that because, you know, as an employee, that's basically what you're paid to do. But I want to improve. So if I stay here, I'm not going to improve. I'm not going to grow anymore. I'm done. I can't study anymore. You know, I can't become something more than an employee to you. So I can't do that. And it's not been easy because, you know, you're giving up. I mean, when you go on your own, you're giving up a every 2-week paycheck, you know, and it might not seem like it, you know, when you're getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, you don't miss nothing. But after a while and you're not getting it no more, you miss it.
Let's go back to yourself in 2001, right? So
Okay.
You're at this job, you're a project manager, right? So you have a stable income, and maybe the work isn't exactly what you want it to be, but things are fine, you know. A couple issues come about, and you know that it's time to make a change.
Yeah.
So you don't know exactly what that change is going to look like yet, but you know it has to happen now. So, like, what would you go back and tell your 2001 self?
To be honest, I'm being perfectly honest. What I would tell myself, I would honestly say, don't quit your job. I quit my job. I did. And I would not have done that. I do not recommend someone quit their job because job is financing. If I had looked at my job as capital, then I would have been able to be more successful. Your job is capital. And a job is also training. The job, both that job and the job at Pepsi, were very good jobs, and I learned so much from them. So the thing about a job, especially if you work for like a corporation that's been around for a while, they are successful for a reason. They have cracked the code. They know how to be in business and make money. And even if they piss you off, that's okay. They still know how to make money, and they know how to be in business. And they know how to manage people. They know how to pay people. They know how to price their product. So learn from the job and use it as capital. That would be the first thing. And don't quit until it's no longer needed, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I would tell myself that.
Absolutely. So I think that's a good stopping place for today. Again, I want to say thank you so much for making the time. And Samantha, you've just shared so many things that, I just really feel like I hadn't had the right perspective on. But, thinking about a job as capital, and also thinking about a job as not just training for the specific job, but the ways in which those skills will be transferable. And so thank you again. And lastly, guys, be sure to go check out the show links at blackstarters.com. Check out Samantha and her beauty products at dirtybeauty.com. And I will see you in the next episode.
Thank you for listening to the Black Starters Podcast. For more exclusive content, don't forget to log on to blackstarters.com. There you can find all our social media sites. And if you like this episode, don't forget to leave a 5-star review, comment, and share.